Hey coaches, welcome back to Football Talk with Coach Chip right here on old YouTube. This is part 2 of our discussion with Coach Jack Byrne, defensive coordinator from Campbell High School in Litchfield, New Hampshire. He was gracious enough to sit down with us, and we recorded over 2 hours of content explaining his 3-3 defense and how he's able to simplify it and give ownership to his players. And I broke it up into 5 different segments. Like I said, this is part 2 of our guest coach series with Jack Byrne. It's great stuff. In this episode, we're talking about secondary play, what he does with his coverages, how he positions his safeties and his corners. But before we get to Coach Byrne, let's go pay a few bills and let him take over and talk about his safeties and corner play in his version of the 3-3 stack defense. Of course, Football Talk with Coach Chip, since the spring of 2025, has been powered by Just Play Sports Solutions, the My Just Play app that I've been using since the spring of 2021. All of my diagrams that I've used on the videos I've made since 2021 have come from Just Play Sports Solutions and my Just Play app. And what's great about it is you get to keep it. It's not like you got to download it from Huddle when you change programs. It's yours. You keep it. But they also, here's their moneymaker to me. This is the key thing. You buy the team package and your players get an app on their phone. So when you create a playbook, when you diagram, by the way, the diagrammer, the play drawer, it's the best one ever. And I've used them all. I mean, if it was out there, I used it over the years. And this is the easiest one, the best one I've used. Look at the diagrams I've made since 21, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But when you make a playbook, when you make scout cards, when you create a scouting report, when you do a game plan, you can share it to your kids. They'll have it with them all the time because it's on their phone. Since players never go anywhere without their phones, they'll always have their playbook. They'll always have their game plan. They'll always have their scouting report. It's all right there. You can add video to the diagrams, which brings them to life, just like I do here on Football Talk with Coach Chip. And it's just the best thing going. So you don't have to print. You don't even have to print out your scout cards for your scout offense or scout defense. You just create them and have them on your iPad and just show them to the kids in the huddle at practice, and boom, they go do it. And you don't have to worry about filing away from when you play that team next year because it's filed away, saved in the app. My Just Play takes care of that for you. Contact my friend, Coach Brad Rumsey. You know he's good people because he's a former O-line coach. And you can contact him by email at brumsey@justplayss.com. Or you can hit him up like I do. Just call Brad at 517-937-5433 and tell him old Coach Chip sent you. And y'all, I'm telling you, let them turn you on to this stuff. It's the best thing going. Like I said, I paid for it myself out of my pocket back in 2021 because I got tired of downloading things from Huddle, and keep making it my own. Having a system is important. Listen. The gun power spread system is only $100. Folks, it covers everything from soup to nuts. It has periodic updates. I've already updated the first edition. And all you got to do is hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com and say, hey, Coach, I want to check out your gun power spread system. I send it to you. And I say, hey, Coach, check it out. See if it's what you want. Because the last thing I want to do is take money from somebody and leave them dissatisfied. And leave them like, man, this was a bunch of bull crap. Because I've bought stuff off the internet for many years now. And it's always been a crapshoot. And you get it and you go like, oh, yeah, that's okay. And so you spend some money and then, you're just trying to find one thing. And sometimes I didn't find anything. And so now I'm saying, here, I'll send it to you. I'll email it to you. You check it out. That's how confident I am that you'll find something you'll find so many things in the GPS. You go like, holy crap, this is good stuff Coach Chip's come up with. And really I didn't. I stole it from a lot of people and had a lot of help from coaches on staff with me over the years to come up with the gun power spread system. I call it GPS for short. And I'm not one of those guys that tried to give my offense a cutesy name. It didn't have a name for years until I wrote it down and created a one package. And I had to have a system. And I tell people, I said, Chip's offense just doesn't sound right. Who's going to buy? Oh, look, it's Chip's offense. It just doesn't roll off the tongue like West Coast or Air Raid does it. And so I came up with this name just because it's got to have a name. And I'm not an expert marketer. I didn't work on Madison Avenue. So check it out. It's good stuff. I love it. And the coaches everyone I've sent it to, not a single person that I've sent it to has hit me back and said, Coach, I looked at it. It's just not my thing. If you're an under center guy, you're going to get a ton out of it. If you're a gun guy, a pistol guy, you're going to get something out of it. I promise. Because the roots of this offense were under center. And when our players changed, we changed with it. And that's why it became a gun offense. But you can still, basically everything we do can be done under center, except for the RPOs. I don't think you can run the power read the way that we ran it from under center either, but you could try it. But except for the read stuff, it all carries over under center, and it's good stuff. I really enjoy it. All right, the offensive line manual still going strong, which is only $29.99 on Amazon. But if you buy it directly from me, you got to pay me an extra penny because I'm going to ship it to you and also send you the ebook. By the way, I just got an email this morning from a coach who had bought it off Amazon and heard on the podcast or on the YouTube channel that they could get a free ebook. That's right. You buy one, you get the other free. So if you buy the ebook from me, I'll send it to you right away. You send me your address. I mail you a copy of the offensive line manual, paperback. So you'll have something to highlight and write in the margins in. But you'll also have the ebook to make presentation to your coaches. It's full of videos too. Even the paperback is full of videos. How'd you do that, Coach? Hey, listen here, I'm a high-tech redneck. QR codes, baby. All of the video links plus 15 more new ones that weren't in the original offensive line ebook are in the paperback. Oh, by the way, I added those 15 new ones to the end of the ebook too. So those are in there. So you're not getting shortchanged. If you bought the ebook 2-3 years ago when it first came out, hit me up and let's talk about getting you a copy of the paperback as well. So check out the offensive line manual for gap down backer blocking, unleashing the power of angles and leverage. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and check out our, what now it's like 60 free resources available to subscribers. Just for subscribing to the channel, it opens that up. So join the over 4,000 coaches who have already subscribed. Do it today. And there's the list. It's 56 on this list. I think it's 60 now. I think it is. And hit me up and I will send you anything on this list. I'll send it to you. Also, I mentioned it. Check out the podcast. It's everywhere you find podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and there's 4 or 5 others that I'm not familiar with that I checked it out a few weeks ago and I said, oh, wow, it's there too. And they all kind of pick up on each other's podcasts, and I don't know how that works, but they all do it. So all kind of great guests. We've done 50 episodes. I'm taking a couple of weeks off. Going to start season 2 in a couple of weeks with a very special guest. I'm nailing the details down as we speak. Thanks to Brian Hale, who does our music on the podcast and on this here YouTube channel. Brian Hale will help you figure it out. You can find him at Hale Yeah Digital. Hale Yeah Digital, and he takes care of things for us from the music point of view. You can see down here at the bottom of the card, haleyeahdigital@gmail.com, and they have a website, haleyeahdigital.com, and they do that beautiful theme music. Don't forget, you can help old Coach Chip out and support Football Talk with Coach Chip at buymeacoffee.com/Coach Chip. You can do it because I was able to set up the account. And if I can set it up, you can participate in it. That's for sure, for sure. Let's get started. Our guest today is Coach Jack Byrne, bringing us part two of his discussion with us on the guest coach series here on Football Talk with Coach Chip. He's talking about secondary play. Take it away, Coach Byrne.
All right, so safeties and corners, they're going to make coverage calls, and that's going to show them how to align. So we have safety coverages, which we call sky and stab, and then we have corner coverages, which we call cloud and crash. So if we call base and we want them to call a split field coverage, that's what they're calling. And for us, we run sky or stab when our backer's in the box. So if our backer is in the box, that means the safety probably has a reason to be the force player, to be the one that fills first. So we'll call him a down player. We'll call him a force player, but he's definitely going to play down. So I think we'll hit that. I'll go more into the coverages in a little bit, but basically they're going to align based on their coverage. If we're in a safety coverage, the safety will most likely be closer to the line of scrimmage than the corner. So you can see that shape over there, and that'll come in handy when we start talking about the free safety. And then you see this shape over here where they've called us a corner coverage. This is probably cloud, the soft cover two. And you can see the shape here is different, right? The deep man is inside the down man. So we want our free safety and all of our defensive backs to understand the difference between this shape where the deep man is wider and this shape where the inside man is deeper. So
Do you do a lot of this in the off season as far as classroom work with them?
we don't have to do it. We don't do a ton of classroom work. We're pretty lucky in New Hampshire. We have our summers are pretty open. Once the spring season hits, we are welcome to gather with our players in small groups that are non-mandatory. So yeah, I mean, but it doesn't require 10 hours. It really doesn't. I mean, we just start talking about if you're playing defensive back for us, you got to recognize, is there two wide receivers and no tight end? If that's the case, we're going to be in a corner coverage. Anything else, we're going to be in a safety coverage. And then we can decide that year if we want to be more of a stab team where we have more of a cover three look, or if we want to play sky, which is more quarters, cover four, read the tight end, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's just reps and reps and reps. And we call base so much that it works out. And then the free safety is going to make his decisions on how much of a linebacker he becomes based on the shapes of his corners and safeties, where that coverage is.
That's right. During the podcast, I think you mentioned your free safety does get involved in the run fit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're basically playing Tampa 2 with a guy who's flying down to Tampa 2. And then he'll be really responsible for vertical of 3. The short answer is he's responsible for a deep route by number 3 or a deep route by number 2 on a safety side, or excuse me, on a side where the deep man is outside. And really the only time that really happens is when we're calling that stab coverage cover 3. So in this case, right, and I'll have another diagram on it after, this free safety would definitely need to think, if I need to be a defensive back, if this player, this number 3, runs deep, he is very unlikely to run deep. So I'm starting to think like a linebacker. The other man that I have to think about in this case, because these guys have elected to call stab and my deep help is outside, I also have to consider this man. It's all the teachings that you would get in a robber coverage or a cover 3 coverage, but we just teach it with those same concepts of look at the shape of your buddies. There's the deep help on number 2 is really wide. So you need to be there first. You have to clear those 2 now before you get in the box. So what we're doing is we're trading the ability for this safety to be the fill guy very early. We're saying this guy doesn't really have a lot of pass coverage. He's truly an outside backer now that just has underneath coverage, and we can send him a bunch. But if we wanted to, we could call sky, have this guy soften up and run more quarters, right? And read this man as the deep player. And then that would say the free safety only has to worry about 3. And if he only has to worry about 3, he basically becomes like a stacked middle backer and he's flying. So we get to decide who comes down, and the kids get to decide who comes down the fastest. We can do it from the outside. We can do it from the free safety. And then the alignment of the free safety, we just keep running. I called in the podcast the free safety math. They just have to keep doing the math. Keep counting cards like you're in a casino. what are the odds that your threat is going deep? As soon as those cards run out, you become a linebacker or you become a robber. And, their starting point is aligning between the vertical threats. And when in doubt, I want them to start deeper. I want them to start with a real creep walk forward. I don't want free safeties pedaling very often at all. I want them to walk forward first in a bad mood, ready to, get their engine started to fly downhill and make a play. So when in doubt, they start pretty deep. As long as they can, the more they think it's going to be passed, the more likely of a vertical, the more they start deep. But I always want them to creep up. And then we've kind of went over those rules that are on the right over here before. But the idea is basically that the free safety has to always respect the vertical of 3, even when it's unlikely. He has to at least look at it. And then anytime we're in a stab coverage where the deep man is outside like this, we got to worry about the number 2 as well. So, and then he gets to go play linebacker. Then he gets to fly up and fill.
That is very good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it takes care of a lot of the teachings. Like you could take 5 different systems and it really leads to this anyway. So, again, coaches are smarter than me. So I needed a way for me when I'm stressed and I got to worry about 5 parent calls that day. And I got to worry about the JV team and the freshman team. And I got to know that I've taught the free safety the most with the least amount of verbiage as possible. So we just go with this. We don't have a lot of different calls. His principles and rules take care of it. So like we said, in both of these cases, the deep help is inside. We've made probably a cloud call on both of these sides. So there is nothing that tells this free safety to go and be deeper than anybody except for number 3. If number 3 goes vertical, yep, you're welcome to be deeper than him. Everything else should be you flat-footed or creeping up to linebacker depth. You basically become the Mike because our Mike doesn't have pass responsibility. The Mike is the first spy on the quarterback. He is welcome to rush the quarterback anytime he wants on a pass. He's welcome to stay in coverage. He's just responsible for be a huge pain in the butt to the quarterback. That's what our Mike does.
Is he your most athletic defensive lineman?
Sometimes, yeah. This year he was. He definitely could have put his hand in the ground.
Now, is this a version of what you told me, kind of like your Tampa?
Yes.
A version of it? Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So if we were, let's say we were running a 4-3, right? If this was a 4-3, let's just take our Mike, who could theoretically play DN, put him in at DN, move the free down to become the Mike. You basically have a 4-3, right? And then if I called Tampa 2 out of a 4-3, that backer would be the one dropping to that deep hole. What we're doing now is we're saying we're going to start in this structure with the Mike being a delayed blitzer. The free safety is going to creep into his Tampa position from back. So now that robber position is so much easier because he can see everything. He can see the quarterback's eyes. It's a lot easier to get underneath those drags and digs and posts and pick them off. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
And I can see where you're coming from now, and I can see where kids would love this and could easily learn this.
Yeah, and they get to start playing a bunch of games too. And once they know the coach is out of the way, and I trust them, then they start having fun. And I can just get my my beach chair and my umbrella drink and just watch them play. It's fun.
There you go.
So here's the example we had before, right? If you have a coverage where your deep help is too wide, you got to also think about number 2, right? So I gotta change my alignment. I got to split my threats. And I got to watch them both. As soon as both of them show that it's a run play, along with what my eyes tell me here, Phil, let's go, get in there. And that can happen in a half a second, right? But you do have to be ready for play action, pop pass to the tight end, and that kind of stuff.
Now, if you had it set up exactly how you wanted it, as far as personnel goes, is your free your best football player if it's exactly what you want?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, he's my best athlete if I can. For sure, because if let's say my best athlete is also, like you said, an excellent football player with high football IQ, man, he can start playing some good games here. But let's say like last year, our second free safety coach was probably truly our best athlete, but he was not our highest football IQ kid. Mm-hmm. So what we started doing was we started playing 10+1 football. So we'd play 10-man football with everybody else, and then I would either let him go by his instincts I'd let him prowl in the box and become another backer, or I would give him a rule. Hey, you're gonna double the number 2 to the field, or you're gonna blitz wide from the edge of the field, and then we would have to adjust our coverages. Obviously, we couldn't call stab anymore because the free safety was gone. So but no matter what, you want someone who's a combination of smart and really athletic. And then against teams that don't give you any multiple receivers removed and no tight end, that's when you're going to see a ton of safety coverage. That's when you'll see, this is the most it looks like a true 3-3, right? When you see a picture of a 3-3 stack on a clinic or whatever, this is what it looks like. Because the reason is these guys are in a tight end formation on this side, probably run heavy, 2 backs, run heavy. So we want to definitely have our 2 safeties closer to the box, ready to play force now. And in that case, because we've chosen to call stab, which is our hard safety coverage, right? All it is cover 3, but we call it stab. They don't need to know it's called cover 3. My smart kids can learn that, but it doesn't matter. We just tell these guys, what do you see? Do you see two receivers and no tight end? Nope. What kind of coverage are you in? We're in a safety coverage, coach. All right, do you want to call a soft one or a hard one? Hard. All right, good. So stab. So we call the hard S coverage, stab. We get him down there. Now, because this is the case, our deep help is wide on both sides, right? Our 2-to-1 deep third player here is wide on both sides. So now the free safety, just like in cover 3, it's everything you would teach a kid if you were running cover 3. But we just tell them from our system. We just tell them, well, where's 3? You always have to worry about number 3 going vertical. But now you have stab on both sides. So who do you have to worry about? I got to worry about number 2, coach, on both sides.
Right.
Oh, well, who are they? It's this guy and this guy. Okay. Well, you can still make a pretty quick decision. These 2 are most likely not running deep routes. So really, who's the only one you're really going to worry about running deep is the tight end.
Correct.
So we can 100% get 9 guys in the box very quickly. It's just that he needs to know if this guy ran deep and caught a play action seam route, that's on you. That's your job. It's not this guy's job. It's not this guy's job. It has to be you because of the shape of our corner and safety. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a different language. I mean, it worked for us to get as much of the other teachings as possible without our kids having to watch hours of Glazier clinics or coaches having new coaches even. I don't want new coaches feeling like they got to jump right in with, the Oklahoma safeties coach and learn all their techniques. Like I just don't think that's the best for a lot of the new coaches that we get either. So I'd rather teach it with this language and then let them discover, more of the advanced language later. But this
and the kids, even if the coach knows it, even if you've got a coach a volunteer in the community that was a 4-year starter in college.
Yeah.
Do you have the kid that can run what they run at Oklahoma since you brought Oklahoma up? Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I was thinking about it this morning, right before you text me. When I was finishing my run, I was thinking about, I said, too many times coaches are trying to do what they see on Saturday and Sunday with Friday night kids.
Yeah.
And not all of us, have Saturday and Sunday kids. And I've been blessed. I've had, okay, so a little brag here.
Sure.
As we record this, is right after the NFL draft. We had 2 kids that played for us several years ago that got drafted. One with the Chargers, one with the Falcons.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know it was, but now here's my point. I'm not bragging on me. I'm a decent kid. I coached for 40 years, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
I was blessed in 40 years. So think how many kids on each of those teams those 40 years.
Yep.
5 of them, at least only 5 of them, even got a coffee break in the NFL.
Yeah. And you're coming from a football hotbed state.
A football hotbed that only had 5 in 40 years, which is a lot, but still mathematically 5 out of, let's just say 40 kids a year on a team.
Yeah.
So 40 times 40, and I had 5.
Oh, yeah.
So coaches, you're not coaching these. And let me tell you something else about those 2 that just signed. They're both DBs.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't those kind of kids when they played for us.
Really?
Yeah. They were good. They were great talents, but they weren't Saturday and Sunday talent when they played for us. They quickly became Saturday and Sunday talent. Yeah. But that's my point. Pay attention to Coach Byrne, coaches. Who, keep it at the level you're coaching at, because you will get that kid. If you coach long enough, you'll get those kids.
Yep. And if you put them in this system, if you put them in a simple system, they're going to dominate just the way they would have if you had a million calls anyway, if you're at that high school level. So, yeah, no, this has helped us a lot. It really, it took me a long time to figure out the language and the vocabulary of it, because, it is a lot of moving the chess pieces around. But once you take the shape of a defense, all right, well, what gives you the best odds? I mean, yeah, we can make up a call that can stop anything, but there's no way to translate that to kids on the fly all the time. So I got to put them in the best spot that I can based on what I know. And these rules have been really helpful.
And you're coaching Friday night kids. By the way, I love that term you just used. That you ought to market that.
What's that?
The shape of defense.
Oh, yeah. If you look at the shape of it, I mean, there's reasons to have the force player inside, and there's reasons to have the force player outside. And you got to look at what is the toughest one to deal with, and where are you weak because of it. So, and to do that all within one system, I think it's great, because then, if my coaches go on and coach somewhere else, they can adapt to other systems pretty quickly. So I really think it's pretty universal. Yep, it's not the advanced class. I have no shame in saying I do not teach the advanced class, but I can get kids ready for the advanced class for sure. They're going to get something that's going to make sense because they were taught some concept at a kindergarten level, when they go to the bigger place,
Well, there's a reason they don't read War and Peace in elementary school, Coach.
Exactly. Right.
Okay, coaches, we're going to stop it right there. We're going to stop part 2, where he talks about safeties and corners. I'm not the best editor in the world, and I know you figured that out by now. You've been watching the channel for all these years. But I tried to take it and break it up into, topics and make it more watchable for you, so that's why it's a 5-part episode of the Guest Coach series. And I just thought it'd be easier to digest that way. And that's why some of them are longer than others, and some of them are shorter than others, because I did it by, topics that he was discussing and broke it up that way. It's not perfectly divided up, 30, 30, 30, 30. And that's why it's that way. Hey, be sure that you are subscribed to the channel. That really helps me out. Like the video. It helps drive that algorithm for the people over there at YouTube, which helps old Coach Chip out. And it doesn't hurt you, just like subscribing doesn't either. And then be sure to share this with that defensive coach in your life. And be sure to stay tuned. Clip on over when you have the time to watch part 3, where he gets into details about giving the players ownership. And be sure you're watching part 4 and part 5 of this episode of the Guest Coach series. That's where he shows video clips of the defense in action. And that's good stuff, cuz I'm telling you, it's a good defense. All right, until next time, y'all, be elite.